We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Vikings Uncensored. Tonight, we are going live as we preview the upcoming game this weekend between the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. I got a few in the chat there already. Good evening, my worthless opinion. Once again, the greatest nickname in all of social media. Doc Proto, Davey Chains. Good evening, everybody. Got a few things on news to talk about, and then we'll, of course, get into the Bears game a little bit. Anything you guys got you want to talk about, throw it out there. We'll hit that, too, as we go along. I guess first and foremost, though, the major news.
Guys.
Didn't anybody ever tell you to cover your mouth when you burp?
The joys of being live, I have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, the biggest news of the week, of course, carryover from the Kansas City game. Justin Jefferson earlier this week put on injured reserve, will miss the next 4 weeks at least with a hamstring injury. So, a very tough season just got a whole lot tougher. So,
Doc, we are live tonight, of course. Yes. By the way, Doc, my Facebook account got hacked here a couple weeks back, so if you haven't heard from me in a while, that's probably why. So, moving right along.
Yes. Good evening, Drewster is in the house. But anyway, yeah, the Justin Jefferson stuff came as a pretty big blow to an already struggling offense.
Apparently, he was jogging down the hallway past Kevin Seifert today.
Yeah, but he's on, he wasn't going to be good to go after a week. And with somebody like him, especially in a position where we're at now, if we were, neck and neck with San Francisco at 5-0 or something like that and pushing hard for it, they probably would not have put him on injured reserve. They'd have just inactivated him for a week or two and see what happens. But with Jefferson out, as the our little show tag shows there, it is Jordan Addison's time to shine this week.
See, now, did Addison ding up his ankle? That's what
He has been limited this week with an ankle, but they expect him to play. So it's going to be him and KJ Osborne shouldering the load. Every game
this year has been infuriating to watch, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's a good thing that Chicago is down a ton of defense, and their defense isn't very good to begin with. Good evening, Justin. Because, with Addison dinged up here this week now, KJ Osborne is the only healthy, legit wide receiver, I guess. We got Brandon Powell, who will be wide receiver 3 this week.
He actually looked pretty good last week against Kansas City, for the time that he was put in there. He had some good plays.
Yeah, he had a few. They did run a jet sweep with him, I think, and a couple other things too. But to kind of fill back up the wide receiver room for this week, though, they did sign Tristan Jackson and N'Keal Harry off the practice squad and on to the active 53-man roster. So Doc, rather not risk him, pretty good chance not going to be happy. But yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Right. You know, I honestly think the worst thing that we did was not sign Jefferson before the freaking season started. I think that's going to come back and haunt our asses at some point. I hope not. I hope not, guys. But
from what the rumors out there have been is the Vikings had an offer on the table, and then the at the last second, the Bosa contract kind of threw a monkey wrench into things as far as money and stuff like that, and that's why they didn't get it done in time. But nothing says they can't do it at any point in time too, so I don't know what they're waiting for. But other injured reserve news, so Nick Mullins also was put on injured reserve. He screwed up his back. I don't know if he had too many sheets of paper on the clipboard or what caused the issue with Mullins, but if for some unforeseen reason, or, you know, God forbid, Kirk Cousins actually gets hurt and cannot play, it would be rookie Jaren Hall as the backup quarterback right now.
I mean, at this point in the season, I kind of want to see Jaren Hall. Why not? Why not?
I mean, at this point, we're still not mathematically out of it.
I know. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised
that way
at some point this season.
Yeah. But of course, all is well with the quarterback world because we signed Sean Mannion back to the fucking practice squad.
This is mind-blowing because he must be Kirk Cousins' golf buddy or something. I swear to God, because he had no connection with Questy or Kevin before hand. We shoveled him off.
Because Mannion was gone from Los Angeles before O'Connell was there, I think.
Right. Yes. And then we bring Colt McCoy, but we pick Mannion over McCoy. McCoy, who's actually started some games in this league and has won some fucking games, but we're going to bring in Sean Mannion?
Sean Mannion has been in the league for 12 years, and he has thrown one more touchdown than I have.
I'm pretty sure Colt McCoy's been in the league for about that long, too.
Yeah, and Colt McCoy he's not great, but he's won like 11 games in his career.
I mean, seriously, if Kevin and Questy are that out of touch with the fan base, I don't know. I don't know.
And, you know, to your point, Lance, and to Doc's point here, totally a Kirk-influenced decision. That's my guess, too. Kirk wants somebody that he's comfortable with as a sounding board in the quarterback room until Mullins gets back. And, you know, Sean Mannion wasn't in too high a demand, just sitting on his sofa eating cheese poofs or whatever, you know. And
who knows what he was doing? He was probably having a rummage sale or something, and they popped on and said, "Hey, do you want a new job?" Who knows?
He was working at a Taco John's somewhere.
Right.
But yeah.
Why even bring in McCoy? Why even bring him in?
I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, enough talk about that.
Yeah. A few other roster moves, though, of course, in order to make room for the aforementioned Sean Mannion. Gophers legend Tanner Morgan was released from the practice squad. Tanner Morgan, Sean Mannion, there's probably not that much of a difference.
That might be true, Drew. That's honestly, that's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Jaren Hall's not ready. He plays now. You ruin him. Yeah, I really don't want to see Hall play yet. I mean, if it's week 15, week 16, and the season's over, throw him out there for a game or two and see what he can do.
I'd say week 10. The earliest is week 10. You know, seeing where the record's at. That's my opinion, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the hardest part of our schedule is over until we get to Detroit at the end or whatever. So
we have San Francisco next week, but
right
now there is no easy portion of our schedule the way
so it seems.
Right.
So it seems.
Other roster news, we brought back another old friend, wide receiver Dan Chisena.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, he brought him back and also signed tight end Troy Fumagalli, who's bounced around the league for a little bit. I think he played for Pittsburgh for a little while, and I forget what else.
Final push for the playoffs here, guys.
Yep. And then also running back, kick returner Kene Wongwu was designated to return and has been practicing all week. They still have him listed as questionable for Sunday, but he has been a full participant in practice, so very likely could see Obi-Wan Kenobi back on the field this Sunday. So, Ty Chandler's done okay as the kick returner, but he's, Wangwu's got that extra gear that 49er fans are already talking shit. Yeah, I'm sure.
So. We're a laughing stock. I mean, honestly, if none of you have noticed, I'm a little bit more fiery than normal tonight. I'm a little on edge, and rightfully so. This team has me so. It's been a long time since I've been disappointed in a Vikings team. And this is one of those seasons. We've had it all there. We got all the talent in the world. Same story, different verse.
Right.
It's just no self-discipline. We are killing ourselves. We're beating ourselves every game.
Good evening, Ray. And your little mini rant there, Lance, lead us right into Drew's comment here. Let's talk about the play calling. Get into it. Yeah, I mean and more specifically the offensive play calling. Defensive play calling, for the most part, I'm pretty satisfied with. There are things.
Got that defense rolling early, and it's all about the complementary play, and there's not any complementary play at all whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, this week against, and we'll get into the breakdowns here in a little bit, but since Drew brought up the point, I don't know what's going on with Kevin O'Connell and his play calling. He had those lapses last year also, but it seems like it's more of the entire game this year, and the time management has been terrible.
The last game, especially, the clock management was horrible that second half, using up timeouts in the third quarter.
Yeah. Good evening, GMAC. Last year we had that situational masterclass stuff. Did we decide not to do that anymore?
Threw out the window.
It was working, so let's fucking get rid of it, but we'll keep tight end screens because they never fucking work.
Yeah, I told you, man. We're fiery. It's really, really humbling to me as a fan.
Yeah, when we started looking at the season and not looking at this, Bears, this is an easy win. The way the Bears have played the last 2 weeks, I don't have a high level of confidence that we're going to go into Soldier Field and win this fucking game.
Amen. Yeah. And you know what? It's not us being nitpicky with this team. We're sitting at 1-4, people. We're sitting at 1-4. We could let's let it all our grievances here.
And with the fact that Justin Fields seems like the light bulb might have come on for him here, especially the last 2 weeks. He's got 7 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks, and almost 600 yards passing.
He is coaching for his career too. You got to give him some credit as well. Did we even sign Dalton Reisner? Did we sign Dalton Reisner? I don't know. Is he on the roster?
I mean, I will, and I did this on Monday, but I will give credit where credit was due. Ed Ingram played a fairly decent game, especially by Ed Ingram standards, against Kansas City last week.
They wouldn't in it.
He had that one where Jones ran right over him, and
Bigfoot Proto, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there is some sort of
Vince McMahon running the team apparently.
There's some sort of bylaw in the state of Minnesota that requires the team to have a player on the roster that nobody knows if they exist or not.
It was Davenport there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, he's actually made this edge rushing group, pretty damn good.
He was getting some pressure and stuff again last week. Did he get credit for that one sack? I don't remember.
I don't know, but it was coming right out of the gates in the second half. We got
Yeah.
that sack right away. Mahomes was like, all right, yeah, we're going to get 4 sacks this half. Only one we got.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, since we've been rolling on the Bears stuff already, the O'Connell, there's a prime opportunity even without Justin Jefferson here this week. Hey, Ant, good evening. Without Justin Jefferson, we still have a prime opportunity against the Bears to open this freaking offense up.
We haven't already. We haven't yet.
No, but I mean, the Bears defense is hurting. They got a lot of guys that are on the injury report, which we'll get to here in just a second. But, and their defense wasn't that good to begin with. It's, but
you know what? The Bears aren't out of it yet either. The Bears are not by any means out of it. They could still make a push.
Yeah.
We're sitting dead last in our division.
Yeah, that's the thing. And if the Bears beat us, we're last in the division right now.
Damn near last in the league.
Yeah. But like I said, now they're talking potentially crappy weather on Sunday, which could affect stuff. Now, that's another thing we'll get into here with the run game. Let's start out. We'll just go through the injury report here first and then kind of break it off from there. On the Vikings injury report as of today, Jordan Addison limited with an ankle. Caleb Evans limited with a knee. Lewis Seen, Marcus Davenport, and Kene Nwangwu all full participants, but still on the injury report. So we may actually see or have a sighting of some Lewis Seen this weekend, possibly. Be nice to see get Nwangwu back out there, see if he can make a little bit of a difference. But then over on the Bears side of things, they've already ruled Khalil Herbert, their starting running back, out. Wide receiver Equiminius St. Brown already ruled out. They're both went on IR. They're out for 4 weeks. But also running back Travis Homer and Roshan Johnson are ruled out for Sunday's game. So as it sits right now, the Bears have one running back on the active roster, and that's Donta Foreman.
No, Justin Fields is running back, right?
Well, but I mean, as far as in the actual position, I haven't heard if they signed anybody this week, if they got people on the practice squad they're bringing in, but they can't go into the game with just one running back, so they'll have somebody up.
Right.
Our old friend Kerry Blassingame is the fullback over there, but I don't expect to see him run the ball too much. Also on the Bears injury report today, those are all the guys that were out. 2 of their main defensive backs, Terrell Smith and Eddie Jackson, or Terrell Smith is out and Eddie Jackson is questionable. So, like I said, that they're down all over the place. Prime opportunity, but
click on Proto's comment there at the bottom.
That one
is
there?
fate out to get us, or is fate out to set us up for something better?
That's a very good point. I mean, if fate is making us suck this year so that we can next year roll into the draft and get a Caleb Williams, a Drake May, somebody like that.
Not that you have went out and done the research on this week and that I expected you to do the research, but when is the last time that we had a top 5 pick?
A top 5 pick?
We've been meandering around the middle of the first round for the better half of 20 years. I think I can name Peterson.
Peterson was 7th.
Yep. And then you got Barr.
Yeah, G-Mac, I think you're right. Matt Khalil was the last one.
And he was an offensive lineman who also, by the way, kind of flopped out of the league.
Yeah. Drew, fate in the NFL is unknown. Got to let the season play out. Very good point.
And the way the season plays out for us usually is we end up with a fucking 7-4 or 7-13 record or whatever it might be.
So yeah, be 7-10 or 8-9 and end up picking 15th or whatever.
And then we get the pick of the last 3, the mystery box quarterback basically.
Yeah.
Like a Ponder.
Well, Ponder wasn't a mystery pick quarterback. Ponder was a panic pick quarterback because
you're right.
all the
Or
quarterbacks
a Blaine
were
Gabbert,
gone.
somebody that we didn't take, but like a Blaine Gabbert type of quarterback, a Blake Bortles guy, never a top guy, but a guy with potential that you don't know is going to shake out is who we usually get.
If we lose, are we number one? No, Ant, we're not, because Carolina has yet to win. So that still puts Chicago with the number one overall pick because they have Carolina's pick in 2024 because of the move up for the Bryce Young pick last year. So
I have a feeling that this draft talk may become more of a consistent as the season goes on. But
well, I would prefer not to talk about the draft until after the season's over, but
the way this season's panning out is it's not particularly fantastic.
No.
It's a very Viking-esque type of season. Like what? Like fumbles? Like we had 8 fumbles all year last year, and we've already got what, 10?
12, I think, 11 or 12, I think.
Exactly, Viking-esque.
Yeah. But anyway, let's. Go ahead.
Shit.
Yeah.
Just weird shit.
But let's roll through the tail of the tape here, and then we'll just kind of, you guys throw out stuff, but if you hit anything interesting, and we'll discuss as we go along here. Starting off as we always do offensively, total yards, the Vikings are sitting 8th right now. Chicago's offense is actually 13th. Points, Chicago's 11th. And we are 16th, which
exactly why we need to be careful with this game. We can lose this game.
Right. And Vikings being 16th in scoring with this offense leads right back to Drew's point that he had back here a little bit ago with the horrible play calling. This one.
Yeah.
How long are they going to keep trotting Murphy out there?
Right.
What are we going to replace him with at the moment? Anyway, over to turnovers. Chicago is 24th in the league in turnovers. We are 32nd.
No.
Big surprise right there. I know it comes as a shock to everybody, but we are the worst team in the league as far as giving up the ball. But looking now at the passing offense, the Vikings are ranked 2nd in the league in passing. So, we're racking up yards. We're just not scoring points. It's like
stats are discouraging. They're just discouraging.
Yeah. Well, it's like what you've been talking about for 2 years here now. We get those good drives going, and then all of a sudden we just and they just fizzle out. And
you convert a third down, you start rolling, your offense is going, and then all of a sudden, boom, fucking brick wall.
Yeah, you get a penalty or you get a turnover, you get whatever, and it kills drive and kills momentum and everything else. But to be 2nd in the league in passing and 16th in scoring, that's pretty pathetic. Yeah.
And that, that points directly back at play calling.
It absolutely does.
That's a big pointer finger right at the play calling right there, because you ain't getting into the end zone.
And even more pointed than just play calling in the red zone.
Yeah,
because we're moving the ball between the 20s just fine. But when we get down in the red zone, that's where we're having all these fucking turnovers. It's where we, crap down our leg and do.
I think we're thinking too much. I think there's too much going on, and you need to simplify things. O'Connell wants to talk about playing with a quiet mind. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in the minds of him and the players, and it's showing on the field.
I'm starting to think
too hard to be something they already are. They're trying too hard to be something that they already are, and they're fucking shit up.
Mm-hmm. Instead of playing with a quiet mind, the inside of a lot of their minds right now is that SpongeBob clip where there's 3,000 SpongeBobs running around with
right.
Everything's on fire and this, that, and everything else.
It's like how Muhammad Ali used to taunt his opponents before a match. You know what I mean? It's kind of what it feels like. What's going on now when you see the offense take the field?
Yeah. It's the thing we've talked. Yeah, we've talked about this with Kirk, and I think it's more than just Kirk. I think it's O'Connell
It's
too.
not just Kirk anymore. It's not just
No,
Kirk
but
anymore.
I mean, with the tendency to get inside their own head, and we've said that before. That my opinion, that's what keeps Kirk from becoming an elite quarterback, is that problem. And I think Kevin O'Connell probably has some of that problem as well.
Sometimes. I think O'Connell has a lot on his plate. And I think this is not, I'm going off of what I was thinking about, but O'Connell has a lot on his plate, and I think he thinks he can handle it. And I think but sometimes this is what I was getting at. Sometimes simplifying things for the players is better than trying to put too much into a game plan every week.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you go from when O'Connell was under McVay with the Rams. McVay called the plays on game day. O'Connell did all the setup and everything else. O'Connell goes from that to coming here to having to calling the plays to, I mean, I know Wes Phillips works a lot with the setup and stuff during the week, but not only calling the plays, having to run the offense, run the defense, run the special teams, run the clock, time management, clock management. He goes from having this on his plate to having this on his plate.
We're not calling for Kevin O'Connell's head by any means, but you know what?
No.
If you've watched the show for long enough, you know how we are. And if people are not up to snuff on what they're supposed to be doing, we're not going to not just sit back and not say nothing.
Right.
We praised O'Connell all year last year, and rightfully so. This year, he has taken the step back, just like players do in their play.
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore slump, I don't know. But I don't want to get rid of O'Connell. I'm not ready to throw in the flag on O'Connell.
No.
I don't want to end up like the Browns and have 16 different coaches in fucking 12 years.
Right.
I believe in O'Connell, but he needs to figure out what works for this team, what works for himself, and what puts this team on a winning path.
Yeah. But O'Connell and Kwesi both signed 4-year contracts last year. They're going to get those 4 years unless something disastrous happens.
Yeah, unless, because that would be outside. When the Wilfs when the Wilfs have invested in somebody, they've given them the due time to see how things pan out.
Yeah, they are very patient owners, which is a good thing. It's not. I mean, sometimes they're patient to a fault, like with Spielman and Zimmer, but it's better than having that. Oh, you had one bad year, get the hell out.
Right, and I'm not saying O'Connell needs to pull out the Bill Musgrave play card calling whatever, but dumb things down, not dumb things, but simplify things and make things easier. Because that's what I think is going on, anyways. I think there's too much information going into the game plans, and it's just leading to disaster on the field.
Well, I think the easiest way to do that is and O'Connell's not going to do this, but O'Connell should turn the play calling duties over to Wes Phillips and just deal with game day situations, clock management, all that other stuff. But didn't we have a clock management specialist on the team last year? Did we get rid of that guy?
Right. And a lot of times, and it seems to me, a lot of these coaches in this day and age, in this generation of the NFL, they get that ego where they have to be the ones. Like Zimmer had to be the one doing the defensive stuff. He's a defensive coordinator. I got to call defenses when I'm coaching. Or O'Connell with the offense now. I like I said, I'm not coming after O'Connell, but maybe you're right. Maybe it would be good if you let Wes Phillips have a little bit more say in what's going on or calling the game in itself. Being a legit head coach, like back in the old day when the head coach looked over the defense and the offense and the special teams, instead of just focusing his full 3/4 of his brain on his specialty.
Yeah, I mean, the head coach is supposed to be the CEO on game day, making sure everything works. You've got your board of directors, which is your coordinators and everything else. Those guys should be running their section. Wes Phillips doing his stuff, Flores doing his stuff, Daniel doing his stuff.
And you have the right to veto and just leave it at that.
Yeah. If you have the headset on and you hear a play call that you think is absolutely not going to work in that situation, you can veto it.
Right.
But
like I said, the ego in these guys now is so huge that they don't want to turn over the play calling on the defensive or offensive side. Look at Harbaugh. Look at all the success Harbaugh has had in Baltimore, just being a head coach.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to before one last thing on the offense. Like we mentioned before, this is prime opportunity for the Vikings to make some hay offensively, especially if the weather is decent. Now, if it's raining and 30-mile-an-hour wind coming off the lake, going to make the passing game a lot harder. But we are back pretty much at full song in the running back room. Madison, Akers, Wangwu, Chandler. And the Bears have Donta Foreman, who's never been mistaken for a home run hitting back of any sort.
He's really up and down, honestly. He has been since he entered the league.
Yeah, he's a jag. He's just a guy.
Yep.
So there's
hopefully this week that's all he is just a guy, and he's not like some superstar.
But the biggest thing again, we got to make sure we keep Justin Fields contained in the pocket.
You know what though? You got to give Kudus where Kudus is due, and that is our run
defense.
What?
Give what?
Kudos.
You said Kudus.
Kudus, whatever. You know me.
I know. I just had to bring it back up.
And I expect nothing less than for you to correct me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But you got to give kudos to that defensive line and the run game. The last couple of weeks has looked much better than what it had over the prior 3 weeks up to that point.
And with that, that's a good segue over to the defensive side of things. We'll look at the tail of the tape there. Starting off, total yards. Vikings currently are sitting 21st.
Cooties.
Close enough.
Right.
The Vikings are 21st in total yards. The Bears are 30th in total yards. Vikings, as far as points allowed, Vikings are 24th. Chicago's 30th. Passing yards given up. Vikings are 24th, and Chicago is 32nd. So, I mean, Chicago's defense is at the bottom of the league in most of these categories.
So was the Chargers' defense when we played them, too. And
very good point. Interesting off-topic, when I was looking at the stats on here, Cleveland has the number one pass defense in the league. Guess how many yards they've given up through the air? Through 4 games.
Oh, I'm going to say 630.
500.
Okay.
They're giving up 125 yards a game passing.
That's elite numbers right there.
But then rolling on to the defense or the rushing defense, this is where Chicago is pretty decent. So, to my point about utilizing the run in the rain, Chicago is 13th in run defense.
That's pretty good.
But we're 14th. So
exactly, like I said, we've came around the last few weeks in that run defensive department because the way Philly fed us our sack lunches, I was really kind of
Other than you take DeAndre Swift out of the equation, and the run defense has been good most of the year.
Our defense, honestly, the tail of the tape does not tell the story of that defense. Our defense is deceptively decent.
Yeah. And we've talked about this a lot from the time Flores got hired. Flores' defense typically start off slow, especially when it's a new system. But as the season goes on, they get better and better. And we're already, 9 positions better at this point in the season than we were at the end of last year.
But what the GMAC did say about Murphy's, I'm concerned too with Murphy. I expected more out of Byron Murphy. Absolutely. I did.
Yeah,
sometimes where I've seen him get burnt bad, and not just once during a game, but a couple of times.
Yeah. Where was I at? Now we just talked about rushing. Now we'll go on to the advanced defensive metrics. We talked about this last week. It was kind of fun, so I brought them back. Blitz percentage. Vikings are number 1, big surprise, at 56.2% on dropbacks.
And I feel like we're getting after the quarterback. I do. It just chips are not falling our way, and as far as a game in a whole,
Yeah. But with that blitz percentage at 56.2, we are 21st in the league in pressure percentage at 21.4.
Right.
Now, on the Bears side of things, they are 26th in the league in blitz percentage, so they don't blitz much. They're at 20.1%. That's 26th. And their pressure percentage is also 26th at 18.6%.
Speaking of rushing the quarterback, and I know we're kind of done talking about Kansas City game, but the last play of that game, they sent 3 rushers, man. A 3-man rush. And they got home.
Yeah.
On the last play of the game.
Anyway. Speaking of getting home, sacks, Minnesota is 19th in the league with sacks. We have 13. Chicago is 30th. They have 7. So they're not blitzing or pressuring a whole lot, and they're not getting home either, which now we talk about that. They'll have 5 sacks this weekend. But,
right.
But yeah, beyond that, like I said, they don't have much for names on the defensive side of things. Their main pass rushers are old buddy Yannick Ngakoue.
Yep.
Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker. He's probably their top linebacker. Cornerbacks are okay if they're healthy. You got Jalen Johnson, Eddie Jackson. As we mentioned earlier, Jackson questionable. Jalen Johnson, I think, was on the injury list earlier this week, but he's a full participant and good to go. So, all of this stuff, most of this stuff points to the fact that this should be a Vikings victory, but
it's a divisional game. So, I mean,
it's a divisional game. Weird stuff happens in Chicago all the time. I swear to God, that place is built on top of an Indian burial ground or something. But, we'll see what transpires on Sunday. But with that, we can roll into our predictions here. Then hit anything else you guys want to talk about, throw your comments in the comment section, and we'll hit that up. But let's start off with predictions. Of course, Green Bay on the bye this week, so they shouldn't lose, I guess. Can't give anybody shit right now because we lose to everybody too. So
right. Yep.
But then the other divisional game though, Detroit goes to Tampa Bay.
I'm actually going to take Tampa Bay in this game.
I think there's a legit shot. I mean, Detroit has looked the part all season so far, but Tampa's been decent also.
Yeah.
We saw them here. Baker Mayfield's playing fairly well.
Yes.
Mike Evans threw for a zillion yards, caught for a zillion passes against us, and threw a touchdown and whatever all else he did.
He's ageless, man. Like I figured, sooner than later his time is coming to slow down. But just like DeAndre Hopkins, he keeps going.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
even in Tennessee, Hopkins is still putting up numbers, and that's saying
yeah.
That's where receivers go to die.
Right.
So
you're picking Tampa on this one?
I'm picking Tampa on this one.
I want to pick Tampa, but the Lions are starting to make me a believer.
Yeah, the Lions have I think the best offensive line in the league, and one of the best offensive lines the league has seen in some time as far as pass blocking goes anyways. Jared Goff has all day back there, it seems like, all the time.
Yeah, their offense in general. Their OC over there, he was kind of a hot name for head coaching candidates in the offseason, and they forked over a bunch of extra money to keep him around. And he's going to get multiple opportunities again this offseason.
And I'm quietly a fan of Dan Campbell's coaching style. I like what he brings to that team. I like the way he coaches. I like the charisma that he brings. It's doing wonders in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, he's a meathead, but
he is a meathead. But you know what? Tice was too, and I like Tice as well.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, but the team in Detroit is buying into the meatheadedness, and it's working for them right now.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
coming from the dude that wanted to bring a live lion onto the side in the sidelines during the actual games. I mean,
yeah.
bite kneecaps off coming into the league. You know, coming into the coaching aspect of the league.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I mean, you know, Dan Campbell's still good once in a while for one of those god awful, stupid
oh yeah, but he
coaching
plays the
decisions.
ball.
But
You know what? Detroit plays to win games, not to lose. You
that, yeah,
know,
they do.
they
That's
do.
and
Same
that's
thing
the
with Kansas
biggest
City. They play to win games.
that's the biggest kudos I can give to Detroit over what we do. We don't play to win games.
Right. We're still kind of Zimmerballing it seems like to me, and that's just mind-boggling to me. But I feel like we're still kind of Zimmerballing it over here.
Yeah, I mean, when Zimmer was here, he wanted the offense to do just enough to allow his defense to, you know, win the game for us. We get O'Connell's like, oh, this is gonna be great. We got an offensive guy now. It's gonna want to put points up, points up, points up.
Fireworks
No.
is what I expected, and I'm getting like bottle rockets right now.
It's like bottle rockets. It's more of those little snapper things that you pop down on the concrete.
I expected fireworks, and I've had glimpses of fireworks, but I have not seen what I've wanted to see. But like I said, I have patience. Let's wait. You know, tap the brakes a little bit and see.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know if it's this
And
gentlemanly warm and fuzzy thing that O'Connell does, that he doesn't want to make other teams feel bad by putting up a ton of points on them.
Dump the oil over the wall and just let it burn, baby.
Well, look at when Miami went to Denver or played Denver earlier this year. They put up 70 freaking points on them.
Joe Wing, that's the type of attitude I want a head coach to have. That pile it on. Don't give a F what everybody else thinks.
Yep. You put your foot on the gas and you don't let up until that game is so far out of hand that you can put in your third stringers and they're not going to come back.
Right.
You know, you got to have that killer mentality. Dan Campbell has that for the most part in Detroit.
And sometimes it comes back to bite him in the ass, yes, but you know what? He has the wherewithal to give it a shot.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel has that instinct with Miami. You know, there's
it's all about the players buying into it and knowing they're just that good, you know, and it's just what they have, we do not have right now. And I'm not sure exactly. I have an idea of what that might be, but I'm not sure what it is, you know?
Yeah. And right now, I mean, we're 5 weeks into a season going into week 6, and we have no signs of getting that. Even when we beat Carolina, that wasn't a comfortable game.
No, we won by what? 1 score?
Yeah. 8 points or whatever it was. Yeah. We didn't make any things easy on ourselves last year. And most of that was due to the defense, although there were issues with the offense last year going into that shell from like the second to mid third quarters. But, you know, having it this year, there's no, other than Kirk and Jefferson, there's really hasn't been a ton of fire. I mean, now to the running game's credit, they've come on the last couple of weeks. I think, I honestly believe that bringing in Cam Akers kind of lit a fire under Madison's backside a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Addison's having a really good year for rookie as far as that goes. He's seen the touchdown 4 times already through 5 weeks. So
yeah. And we'll see what happens now when he starts having more coverages rolled his way because they don't have to account for Jefferson on the other side.
Right.
You know, is he going to show out? You know, that's like we said in the beginning, it's his time to shine now. Justin, if we lose, it's fire sale. Any pending free agent have to assume lose next week versus San Francisco, and you're 1-6.
That's very plausible. Yeah.
I don't think that the Wilfs are going to be willing to sign off on that.
Fate will determine that.
But the thing of it is, and we all know this, the Wilfs have a primal fear of having empty seats in US Bank Stadium. They're so scared to be bad. Even if the fire sale is a good idea, I'm not 100% convinced that it is, but you'd be trading off someone like a Danielle Hunter, like a Jordan Hicks.
I wouldn't be convinced that it is, but the fact that we already have the talent here to have a winning team, maybe it is the right idea. Because we bring in a young gun under a rookie contract at quarterback, and this is the type of team that can make the turn like Seattle did with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but I mean, the quarterback thing is irrelevant because, I mean, I know there was that thing earlier in the week where Kevin Seifert asked Kirk Cousins if he would ever waive his no trade clause, and Kirk did a Kirk answer and didn't give an answer. He just said, I'm focused on going 1-0 this week versus Chicago. Anything else is not worth my time. So he did not say no to it. He didn't say that he would. And unfortunately, we're going to keep, if the Vikings don't turn it around and start winning, we're going to keep hearing that for the next 3 weeks. Trade deadline is in end of the month. GMAC, there's no reason to keep guys whose contracts are running out after the season when you can get draft picks for them.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't disagree with that. The problem is, what are you going to be able to get for some of these guys? I mean, if you're trading Jordan Hicks for a 7th-round pick or Danielle Hunter for a 4th-round pick or something stupid like that, I have no interest in anything like that. If you can get a 1st-round pick for Danielle Hunter, I'll pick up the phone and I'll listen. I would. Cousin said no earlier. We'll talk about it in March. Yep. And I don't think Kirk is going anywhere. I don't. His family likes it here. He's not. And for all the talk, everybody said the Jets are going to trade for him. The Jets are going to trade for him. The Jets are not going to trade. Well, Kirk is not going to. The Jets probably would trade for Cousins. But Kirk is not going to waive his no trade clause to go to New York for 4 months, because especially when they have Aaron Rodgers sitting there and he's planning on playing next year. So the odds of them extending Kirk at the end of the year are very small. So Kirk is not going to uproot his family, move them to New York for 4 months, and then turn around and move them again. Better to get a 5th or 3rd next draft than a 5th compensatory year later. Even with Danielle Hunter, you'd probably get a 3rd-round compensatory pick for that. Cousins would hate having to learn a new system again. Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
But as far as the trade stuff, and I'm going to say one last thing about Kirk trade rumors, and then I'm done with it for now. The only place I could potentially see Kirk Cousins being willing to waive his no trade clause right now would be down to the Falcons. He's got family ties down in Atlanta. They spend time down there in the offseason. I could see that being a destination and Atlanta probably would look to sign him to a 3-year extension because I don't think they're happy with Desmond Ridder.
And I think that's just you giving an answer where we want to answer, honestly. I think you absolutely don't think he's going anywhere.
No, I don't. I don't
Right.
think Kirk is here till the end of the season until I'm proven wrong.
Right.
Re-signing him at the end of the year, all bets are off on that. I'm not going to get into that right now because we could talk about it for 55 minutes.
Week 6. Or it's week 5, so.
Yep. GMAC, exactly, gone after this season. I think the odds are pretty good of that, especially if you're not going to be able to sign Kirk to a market value contract and sign Justin Jefferson.
No.
Because the following year, you're going to have to sign Christian Darrisaw as well. So.
Yep.
Now, you could maybe get Kirk. I don't know that Kirk is going to be willing to sign a 1-year deal, though. He wasn't willing to do that earlier, so.
All right, Bears-Vikings game. We got to pick that yet.
Yep. Okay. Floor is all yours here, Brunswick.
I think it's gonna be a close game either way. I think it could go either way. Honestly, I wish I could confidently say that we're gonna go into Chicago and win, but at this point in this season, nothing surprises me anymore. I'm gonna say we're gonna win, but it would not surprise me to see Chicago sneak up on us and take us out at Soldier Field.
No, I'm in the same boat. I want to say the Vikings pull their heads out of their asses and go out there and have a convincing win. You know, the Bears are hurting in a lot of different areas. They're down to one competent running back. Their secondary guys are hurt. They don't have a pass rush to speak of. You know, all the stuff points. Yes, I know Justin Jefferson is out, but with the rain and everything else, I think, you know, the run game probably is going to be more of an emphasis this week. And our offensive line has been run blocking very well for the most part. You know, all the signs point to the Vikings being able to go in there and right the ship a little bit and keep hope alive for another week.
It's not like we can't move the ball, so we can't hang on to the damn thing.
Well, there's that too. And of course, and the rain, of course, is going to help with that. So,
right.
I'm going to pick Minnesota here, but I'm not confident about doing so because just for all that stuff I just said, that when we have that kind of stuff, it usually means the Vikings go out and crap the bed. And there is a very real possibility that we are 1-5 at the end of the week. And the lock just fell out of my chair. But yeah, I'm going to go Vikings, especially in the weather. You know, it's probably going to be a 17-13 game, something like that.
It's going to be close. I mean, I don't foresee it being a blowout because we haven't seen any sort of competent, continual upward trend in this offense. So,
no. Unfortunately, if it's a blowout, I'm afraid it's going to be a blowout in the bad direction.
Yeah.
The way Chicago has been playing the last couple of weeks on offense.
Yep. Chicago's been doing what I've been wishing that we could do the last few weeks, and that is starting to pick up, you know, some confidence and winning some games. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because they put up 28 points 2 weeks ago. They put up 40 on the Commanders last week. So.
No, I'm not going into any game with any confidence this year until I can see that we could actually proficiently win a game.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, from here on out, I don't know if I can confidently pick us for any game. So we'll see.
So, all right, with that, that's about all we got. You guys got anything else in the comments over there in the chat group to you want to hit before we call her a night?
Right, we got a little bit of time here.
Yeah. Hearing nothing, I guess that'll about do it for this week. Again, thank you, everybody.
Nobody likes to lose. I get it. Nobody likes to lose, man. And
no,
it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch Viking stuff when the Vikings aren't winning. We get it, you know. So, but anyways, continue, Ryno.
Yeah. I want to thank all you guys in the chat for joining as you do every week. Thank everybody else out there for watching. I apologize again for the technical issues with Facebook. That's between Facebook and StreamYard. It was out of our control, but other than that, again,
the Viking organization.
Yeah, they somebody fumbled the ball on that one, but
right.
But beyond that, we got to go into Chicago this week. We got to get us a win. We got to right the ship up a little bit and keep hope alive because next week we have an absolute buzzsaw that we have to go face. So
that's right.
With that, take us out of here, Lance.
I'm right there with you, man. You said it best, man. We need to go out there and at least have some sort of flicker of light, you know. I don't know where this season's going to take us. I really, honestly do not want to be sitting middle of the pack again come draft time. I want to win. I hate to lose. But I don't know anymore about this team this year, you know. So with that being said, Millie, Aubrey, if you're out there watching, I'd love to miss you guys. We'll see you next Friday, studio show.
And also Ryno's Rants Monday and a Brunswick's Best next Wednesday too. So with that, have a good weekend, everybody.